Good afternoon, guys. Here we are today. Phaz, thank you for joining in. For some of you guys that might be tuning in, we're just kind of getting started here. We got the live Q&A, and we got something a little special for you guys. This is actually our first look at the Red Line Edition Camaro. It's a 2017 model. It's our first look at it. The owner just picked it up. I mean, when I say just picked it up, it's got 50 miles on the clock, and I think he picked it up, what, about 2 days ago, Jason?
Yeah, he picked it up over the weekend.
So I think he picked it up over the weekend, I think Saturday, Sunday, somewhere around there, and from what I understand, it's been sitting in the garage since then, maybe taking it out once in a while to wash it, or
it's been a little wet down here,
drive. You know, the weather hasn't been that great here in Houston the past couple of days, but he's enjoying it so far, and he's actually an old customer of ours. So he's been a customer of ours for quite some time. He's a member of the H-Town Camaro Club, and he's just he had an Inferno Orange 5th gen. I want to say it was a 2010, I believe.
Yeah.
2010 Inferno Orange 5th gen, and he had a bunch of stuff done to it. Great looking car, and he had been talking about getting the 6th gen. He finally decided to upgrade. So congratulations, Ben. Car looks great, man. So really, so what the first things that he kind of wanted to do. He came to us, you know, after he got the car. Obviously, he messaged us and emailed us right away. So we kind of been going back and forth with him. So the first thing he really wanted to do was an intake, and he had a Roto-Fab on his 5th gen, so he wanted to stick with the same brand and really kind of support them. So that's what he wanted, and that's what we're going to go ahead and get installed for you guys today. So really kind of, I guess the first things that we're really kind of doing to this car, since it's only got 50 miles on it, are we're kind of doing the first upgrades that, you know, someone like yourself would do. So what's really kind of the first things you would do? Well, Ben opted to do some blackout kits and a cold air intake. So we're going to get the blackout kits installed, so we're going to take all the factory stuff and change all that. But the one thing I want to show you guys to do today is how to install this Roto-Fab intake on this car. Now, this intake is the sound tube delete version. So you can see it's actually going to clean up the underhood quite well. It's going to get rid of the factory sound tube. It's going to get rid of that, and it's the dry filter. He opted to go for the dry filter. Just because it's probably what he'd rather have, so he'd rather go with the dry filter. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys how to get everything installed, so that way you guys know on your own version how easy it is, and you know how quick we can do it, and go from basically from the factory box, which we'll go ahead and show you. So we'll go from the factory box to the Roto-Fab box. Now I'm pretty sure some guys like the factory look and everything, and I like it too, but there's always room for improvement, and that's what Roto-Fab decided to do. So they kind of improved on the factory design with their design as far as, you know, their tube and everything. So we'll just go ahead and get started with the install. You know, so we'll go ahead and get going on that. I got a couple tools laid out and everything that we'll need. I've read the instructions already a couple times to make sure I got everything just down perfect. So it's a simple. I have a couple screwdrivers here, both Phillips, one small, one large. The larger one for the screws for the box, and the smaller one for the screws with the mass airflow sensor. A couple of little hardware that we'll need. Everything's kind of pretty much comes in the kit. The instructions explain everything very well. Very nice color pictures. Everything is just, I mean, laid out perfectly for you. So this is for the sound tube delete. So you guys that do the sound tube delete, you'll get this extra piece of instructions here telling you what you need to do to remove the factory sound tube. So, but I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do that and everything. So we'll just go ahead and get started, huh?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. All right. I mean, you guys can pop in if you guys have any questions. We are watching it, so if you guys have any
questions. Hey, Jason. Hey, Ben. How you doing, guys? Doreen.
See here.
Glad you're watching us today, Doreen. Everybody else that's watching, thank you, guys.
Yeah,
go ahead and share the feed. If you don't like our Facebook page yet, go ahead and like it. So Ricardo's going to get started on this.
First thing I usually do, guys, is you want to go ahead and take these vacuum tubes. We're going to go ahead and get these removed here. And also the mass airflow sensor connector. Now on the back side here, you guys can't see it, but on the back side here, there's a connector. So I'm depressing that tab so I can essentially pull it out. But here it is. That red tab is going to push back in place once it's all locked in and everything. It's going to push back in place so that way it locks and you're not able to depress it. So while it's under there, you can stick your finger down there and just pull that tab back and pop it right off. Comes right off pretty easy. So then we'll go ahead and get the sound tube off, so that way we can get the entire box as one unit. Go ahead and take that off. Here.
So this is the Red Line Edition. Is that correct, Ricardo?
Yes, this is the 2017 Red Line Edition. I want to say I forget how many colors that they're actually doing the Red Line Edition in, but this is the Silver Ice Metallic. I want to say there's a black, and I believe there's a white. Not too sure if they're doing any other colors, but like I said, it's a limited kind of production car, so they're not making a whole lot of them. See, so according to the dealers, according to some of the dealerships that we've talked to, the Red Line Editions aren't really being mass produced as kind of some of the other just standard SS or the V6 or stuff like that. So something to kind of keep in mind. And we'll kind of, once we do the intake, we'll go over the car and show you guys what's the difference between the Red Line and kind of a standard SS.
Fantastic. So the top tube that he took off, that is part of the sound tube right there, guys.
Yeah.
That is going to be what we're going to be eliminating on with this Roto-Fab air induction. This is basically the Roto-Fab air induction with the sound tube delete, and like Ricardo said, it's going to have the dry filter option as well.
Yeah.
So
now one thing with the factory tube, here's this piece right here. I know I made it look really easy, but that piece is actually just, you take that and flip it and it opens that clamp up. This is actually holding the sound tube delete, or the sound tube. So we'll just take that, I'll close it back up, and I'll take that sound tube and I'll stick it down just so it's out of the way of the box while I go ahead and remove the entire box. Got my harness off there, got my vacuum line off to the side, got that, and I'll grab the box right here from the bottom side of the mass airflow sensor. Just kind of give it a good tug. There we go. Now one thing we've always kind of gone over, guys, always gone over, are these little rubber grommets. As you can see, that rubber grommet came right off with the factory box. Not a problem. Take that rubber grommet off, and we're going to put it right back in the factory spot, because that will get reused.
You'll see there's 3 grommets, guys. There's this one here, there's that one there, and then again there's that one down there.
Yeah, so I've already done a little bit of prep work to the intake. As far as the sound tube is concerned, I went and took fitting, and I've already put it on the bottom side, which we'll go ahead and remove the factory little canister. We'll remove that factory canister and we'll slide it back on here with the silicone that they provide. So then, but the first thing I want to go ahead and do, I want to show you guys how to, we'll go ahead and get the sound tube off the car. So kind of jumping ahead of myself there, but not a problem. Get our tools here. We'll take the Torx, and they tell you what size. I believe it's a Torx 45. And we're going to go ahead and remove these 2 bolts here. So that's going to remove that bracket from holding it to the motor. And then we also have these fittings back here. These fittings are just rubber. So I have my trim tool here. I can show you. And they're just going to pop right off. There you go. Got that one there. Got the one back here. And on the back side, where it's connected to the firewall, there's a 10mm screw right back there. So we'll go ahead and remove that. So before I go ahead and start leaning over the car, you know, because I mean, last thing I want to do is scratch up a brand new car. I'm going to go ahead and take my fender mat and I'm going to lay it down. Now, some of you guys might need a, you know, it's a general fender mat, but this one's actually a really nice, very soft, and it's also got Camaro on the side of it. So, I mean, one of the other things we offer. So if you guys are picking up this intake and you don't have a fender mat, we can throw it in the same box, same package, and we'll get it sent out to you guys all together. So we'll go ahead and take these bolts out.
Again, this is only if you're getting the sound tube delete.
Yes. Now I do get messages and calls and people asking our guys, what's the purpose of the sound tube? The sound tube, all it does is amplify the sound of the motor into the car. That's all it really does. It's not monitored. There's nothing I'm having to disconnect. No electrical wires or anything that you know, is put in place. Everything's all just basically a big vacuum tube. That's all it is. So all it does, all it's going to do is, like I said, amplify the sound, give it a bit of a driving experience. So it's kind of one of those features that's, you're not going to miss it if you don't really pay attention to it. I've tried to listen for it. I can't really hear it. Maybe that's just me. I've heard some people that say they can hear it. I guess it's all about preference at that point. So we got those 2 removed. Get those out of here. And this is where the fender mat's going to come in handy. You guys can see here, I went ahead and just kind of laid it there until I got the bolt in the back there. Now I'll go ahead and just get that tube off, and I'll just take the entire tube and everything as one unit. So this is where the mat kind of comes in handy. Because, as some of you guys know, these 6 gens are a little tight to work on. There we go. And all you really got to do for that nut back there, guys, you're going to reuse it. So try not to drop it or lose it. It's going to come in handy in a little bit. Alright, so there we are there. I'll put that there so I don't lose it. Reach back and just pull it off.
Let me go through some comments here. Hey guys, hey Dwayne, hey Angela, hey Tony. There are 3 different colors available for the
Red Line?
This Red Line Edition. So here it is, guys. Here is
this is the
sound tube right there.
That's it. As
It's
you
like
guys
a
see,
snake.
There's no electrical plug or anything really having to do with it. So it's just like I said for a driving experience.
To give it enhance the sound inside the cockpit of the car, basically, guys.
That's really all
there,
it
it's
does.
removed. It's out of the way. Hey Angela, hey Dwayne.
The cool thing about the Roto-Fab and getting the sound tube delete is that they give you a plate to block that piece back off. So that's where the factory bolt's going to come back in handy. So we're going to take this plate, put it back in the location, put the factory bolt right back on it, and it's going to seal together very well up against that foam.
So you see that hole right there.
Right there. That hole right there. You can see some of the jute and everything kind of come through, but all it does is basically go into the firewall and just gets amplified from there. So we'll take our cover here, line it up, line it up as best we can, and once we go to tighten it down, we'll go ahead and reposition it, make sure we get a good nice seal.
See what else we got going on here.
There we go.
No, you don't gain any power by deleting the sound tube, Russell. It's basically there just to just for the sound. So it just by deleting it, you're just getting rid of that swishing sound that it might make in there if you have a traditional style air induction without that tube.
Yeah, there's no power gain for it. Like we said, it's kind of in there more for a driving experience. So if you're in the different modes, the sport, the touring, and I believe the track mode, it changes the sound, I believe, with one of those modes. So something to kind of think about.
Bunchy, speaking of tubes, where would you prefer to put the catch can? Catch can, like if you get the Mishimoto, it's basically going to mount like right in this area right here.
Mounts right about here.
So it will fit with everything you're basically doing.
Yeah, like our car has the cold air inductions intake, and we have the Mishimoto catch can. The cold air inductions, they still keep the sound tube. So with that one in place, catch can's there. I'm still able to get it there. I screw the bottom half off of it and drain the catch can anytime.
So Kevin has a question. So y'all put the 100 shot on there, yes, on our Camaro with the factory tune and plugs. Is it safe with the factory tune as long as it's a wet shot? Yeah, I mean, so far we've had no issues with it. I mean, we pulled the plugs after we made some hits on it just to kind of check it. And so far with the factory tune, at 100 shot, we're good.
Yeah. You know, even I want to say that, I forget what the air fuel ratio was on the dyno.
It was a little fat.
It was a little fat, but we're fine.
Remember, we're on direct injection vehicle too, so that makes a difference. It's not like traditional injector style.
Right, exactly. So what we'll do, guys, let's see, the next step that we will do, see here, and I'm just going to double check. I like to double check and triple check, make sure I'm going the same way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the box together, and that requires me to take the mass airflow sensor housing out and that extra vacuum tube. So I'll show you guys how to take those apart, so that way you guys can see what it takes. Now we've talked about the mass airflow sensor before, so something to kind of keep in mind is that there's only one way it's going to come out, one way it's going to go back in place. So keep that in mind, guys. We'll get that here. And these screws, they will not be reused.
Yeah, like we said in the past, these particular screws are just put them back in the factory map housing.
Yeah, that's all I do.
You're not gonna put those in the. If I can
box.
zoom in on there or not and get that what it looks like. Nah, it ain't happening.
Here, we'll do a side by side here of the factory screw and the Roto-Fab screw, so that way you guys can see the differences that won't allow you to reuse it. So we'll put this aside here. Let me go ahead and grab them there. You guys can got a little bit of room here. So there's your factory screw and there's your Roto-Fab screw. Kind of give you a little bit of insight. You guys see this one's a nice machine screw, and this one's a very coarse screw that obviously they're not going to go back in the same spot. So if you guys are
not zooming in on it.
It's so
machine screw versus
a sort of a tech screw, you know, kind of. So they're really not going to go back together. So
Ben wants to know, can I add the same catch can with the Roto-Fab? The Mishimoto, you can add it on there with the Roto-Fab.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because even with the Roto-Fab, even the kits that keep the sound tube, they still keep the same routing as far as the factory routing of it. So the Mishimoto catch can works around that. So you shouldn't have.
And the Mishimoto is a nice, clean can on the car.
It is. It is. It comes with a bracket, mounts right down. A lot of it kind of mounts right above the headers, but you let the car kind of cool down a little bit. You're able to grab that.
That's
can.
good. Yeah,
no problem.
It's easy.
So you shouldn't have a problem there. So this is probably the hardest part as far as getting the entire box and everything I need are these clamps here. You guys might have seen us in the past kind of struggle with them a little bit. You just take a pair of pliers, a screwdriver, and able to work them out and go from there. All we're going to need is this box here, so that way we can put it back on the factory, on the Roto-Fab box. So, take my pliers here. And all you really do, guys, is you're going to take that clamp and you're going to break it, essentially. It's not going to be reused. It can't be reused. So if you guys want to go back together with the factory box, you sell the car or something, you're going to have to find a new clamp, unfortunately.
Or slide in there, put a zip tie on it. I didn't say that out loud.
I'd probably recommend a hose clamp. But I guess a zip tie will work.
So while he's doing that, again, this is the Red Line Edition here. It comes with the Performance grill in the front. It has the red accents. What's cool about it is when you look at the wheels, you think, hey man, is that a sticker? But it's painted on. They put it on, they cleared over it. So that's pretty nice. That way you don't have to worry about getting beat up and coming off. Obviously it has the accents on the side here. Cool thing about it has the black painted mirrors. It also comes with, the tail lights in the back as well. So it's definitely a good looking car. Yeah, I'll walk back here and I'll show you guys the tail lights.
I don't know if there was a guy that jumped in saying he had a Red Line Edition, or if he's saying he just knew a little bit about it.
This is the vinyl insert that goes across there.
But I was very surprised to see that the stripe on the wheel was actually painted.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a nice surprise. That's pretty cool on there. So it really signifies that, hey, this is a Red Line Edition, because they're essentially painted on. From the factory,
exactly.
So it's pretty good.
What does the catch can do exactly, and do you guys recommend the catch can for everyone with the Nessas? I do. I mean, I recommend a catch can for everybody.
For everybody. Especially on a direct injected motor.
Yeah.
Especially on on these 6 gens, they're completely different.
So what the catch can is going to do is it's going to collect the oil vapor that is run through the induction system on the Camaro, basically, and what it's going to do is it's going to collect the excess oil. Instead of pushing it through the intake, it's going to collect in the catch can. Right.
So some of you guys that maybe we'll take like an old Suburban or an old Tahoe. You go in for service, and what's always the thing they usually tell you? Well, we got to clean your throttle plate. Having a catch can in place is going to kind of prevent that throttle plate from getting very dirty, sticking with a lot of oil and everything. That's essentially what's going to catch all those vapors and everything. Now, over time, yes, the catch can will need to be drained, and it's not going to catch absolutely everything, but it's going to minimize essentially the maintenance to the intake that's needed.
Yeah, because what's going to happen, that's going to eventually over time is going to get full of oil. Okay, that's where we're at now, Ricardo.
Right. All right, so now where we're at is we're going to go ahead and kind of assemble the box that's going to go onto the car. So we'll go ahead and take our intake tube. We'll slide it here, and there's an opening on this side that slides in. Okay, and we're going to turn it a little bit so that way we match all the fittings all together.
The holes, yeah, there we go.
Now, another thing Roto-Fab sends you is that they send you this plate here. this plate has a notch, as you guys can see. It's got the notch for the for the sensor, and it's also got a T up top. That T is going to go to the box, to the top. Okay, so we got our T there, our T right there.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take that to the top, or to the box side, and then what we'll do, we'll go ahead and turn it, so that way it matches up. Kind of hung up a little bit over there. There we go. So then take that, line that up. Now we'll just take the screws that they provide. We'll go ahead and get those lined up and get them tightened down, and we'll put the box on the car. Well, after we get the mass airflow sensor in place. Skip that one there.
That piece right there.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a challenge. You know, it's something to kind of, you want to put that sensor in place before you put the box on, because if not, it's a little bit of a challenge to get that box in place with these little screws. I mean, they're very small screws, so they do their job. They do what they're supposed to. They work out great, but when it's on the car, it's a little bit of a different story.
So far, guys, he's shown you we've removed the sound tube. I don't know if y'all can see back there, but the plate, we put the plate in place that comes with the Roto-Fab. So that still blacked that off. We removed well, you know, what is that thing called? Basically, it's like a baffle system or whatever for the most part that goes on this tube right here.
Yeah, I got the tube over here.
You know, and take that out. So what that's going to do is going to kill the noise you get in the car. If you notice now, you get that noise.
Yeah, that's kind of about
that's what you hear. Like, what is that noise? That's from the sound tube.
That's from the sound tube.
You know.
Yeah, I want to say, and I believe talking to Ben's wife, and she actually heard it. You know, she was a little curious because this is their first 6th gen as well. So they were a little curious as far as what it was. That's exactly what it was.
That's what that noise is. So when you're driving your 6th gen, you hear that shh noise. That's what's causing that.
Yeah. All right, we got those two in. Got this last one here.
So you're obviously going to remember, like, what you do is you're going to pull off your factory air box. If you're doing the sound tube delete, pull off the sound tube. Then it's going to be time basically to put in the Roto-Fab.
You can do all this pre-assembly before you get started. I just kind of like to show you guys how exactly the assembly goes, so that way you all know that you can do it yourself. So we got our sensor here. Now, going back to the sensor, there's only one way this sensor is going to go in. Okay, you guys can see nothing lines up there. There's only one way it's going to go in. Those line up perfectly right there.
Right there.
So we'll go ahead and take the screws they provide.
Now remember, you're not going to reuse the screws from your factory airbox. Okay, so if you drop and lose one of these screws, just give us a call if you bought it from us. Okay.
Yeah, just give us a call, guys. I mean, we have no problem getting with Roto-Fab and getting you a replacement. I mean, it's.
Don't try to stick the one in there.
It kind of ruins your weekend. Don't get me wrong. I understand.
But if you don't try to stick the factory one back in there.
Please don't.
Kevin, what's the difference between the cold air induction by cold air inductions versus the Roto-Fab? Have you seen much difference between the two?
Power-wise, they're about the same.
They're the same, man. So basically, if you look at this one here, you'll see how it's open. It's open to the hood. It's going to seal against the hood. Yeah. Where the cold air induction is completely sealed off. And you can actually see the filter in there with their plexiglass window in it.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as power-wise, like you said.
Now, but let me ask you this: does the cold air induction does not offer a sound tube delete?
They do not.
They do not. So Roto-Fab is the only one that offers the sound tube delete.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I have seen some guys out there with the cold air inductions. They'll take it and they'll find a plug or some way to cap it off. But you're still going to have this this little round nipple coming out of the elbow. So it's still going to be there. Not like Roto-Fab where they make a entirely different tube that gets rid of it completely.
Yes, completely.
So something to kind of think about, you know. What kind
of let me ask you this question. So if somebody already has a Roto-Fab tube for the without the tube delete, can they get the tube delete? Yeah. I mean, I've done it before for some customers that got it, or they want to kind of change their ways or change something about it. It can be done. It can be done. So if you wanted a sound tube delete later on, definitely give us a call, shoot us a message, email, and we'll do the best we can to help you out on getting it.
something like that. We typically don't. We have the intakes in stock. Okay, we got boxes of them. They're sitting right over here on the shelf. The sound tubes and stuff like that. If you got a full kit now and you wanted a sound tube later, something like that. Currently, right now, we're having to ship it from Roto-Fab.
Yeah.
But it is available. I can get it. Not a problem.
Okay, Munchie's got a question. I got a catch can from you guys last week. In the instructions, it says to run the lines from the PVS line on the passenger side of the intake to the other hose on the valve cover. On the driver's side rear, I have a VBK cold air intake already, and PVS line is already connected to the cold air intake tube. Was wondering if I did it wrong, or should I just hook up the catch can in line how the tubes are now? Also, it's a fit-in. Is it a fit-in? It's a V8 or V6?
Or V6. So there's kind of a difference there because the V6 line is the intake line that you have to grab off of, is off the top of the manifold, and the V8 lines are actually off the bottom of under the throttle body. So there's two different locations. But shoot us a message, and I'll do the best I can to answer you.
Yeah.
Maybe you can send me some pictures and stuff like that, and we can kind of get it solved for you. Not a problem. But shoot us a message, so that way I can get with you this afternoon, and we'll definitely help you out.
Perfect.
Okay. So here we are, guys.
It's a V8.
V8. Okay. Yeah.
So you can go off the intake.
I want to say the instructions well, depending on which catch.
It's probably billet custom.
If it's the billet custom catch can, the instructions are on that page. I know I had a customer ask a couple weeks ago, and I got my guys to actually load it on that page, so it should be there. If not, like I said, shoot us a message, maybe some pictures.
Or give us a call, Munchie. Not a big deal, man.
Not a problem, man. So here we are, guys. Back to the Roto-Fab. We got the box and everything basically ready to go back on the car. So we'll go ahead and get that put on, and then we'll continue.
Well, let me ask you, do you put the filter on now, or do you put the filter on later? Does it matter?
Put the filter on later.
Okay.
You want to put the filter on later just so, because right down in here.
Yeah, tell them why.
Right down in here, Roto-Fab gives you this nice foam piece and everything. It's going to seal right up against the factory box. Let me grab the factory box and show you guys.
So it's going to fit right in the factory hole on the front of the firewall.
There's a scoop there. There's kind of an intake scoop that GM already has put in place. So that's where they get most of their air from. Roto-Fab went ahead and utilized that same intake. So you want to make sure, put that filter on afterwards so you can get your hand down in here on this side from the back side and get everything put in place.
Get it lined up now. Good deal. Good deal.
So we'll take it, pull our fender mat back a little bit, and you guys can see here, there, let me hold this off to the side. This is what I'm talking about right here. This silicone piece, got this entire cut out on it, that's where the Roto-Fab box is going to sit in. So you want to make sure that you're able to get your hand in there and able to push it down and get it to where it needs to, so that's the way it fits up.
Because I think in their instructions it says you can put the filter on first, right?
I have to double check that, but I've always done it afterwards.
But yeah, I've noticed you've always done it this way. That fits it right in there.
So we'll go ahead and get that lined up. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and line up these three push pins, or three tabs, I want to call them.
Into those rubber grommets that we showed you earlier.
Grommets. So we'll get those lined up. We'll get those pushed down in place. Oh, this front one came out. But you guys can see. You guys can see without putting that grommet in place. We'll show you. You see, and I got my hand down in here. I'm actually pushing that silicone up and around it, so that way I can put the box down in place.
So you can see how tight the Roto-Fab sits in place, guys. Once it's in those tabs.
Pop that back out for a quick second. Got that one lined up.
Hey Don, thank you for watching, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we appreciate you guys tuning in. All the questions. I mean, we might be doing an install on a Roto-Fab, but we'll answer questions about a catch can. You got questions about headers? You got questions about springs? Shoot away. We'll answer them.
So right now you're fitting in that. You're getting pushed in. You're going to fit in that silicone tube.
Yeah. There we are. There we are. Now you guys can kind of see. Get that last piece in there. There we go. There we go. Now you guys can see that factory piece. You guys can see it right there. But that factory piece is right up against the foam piece, and it's got the Roto-Fab box. Pull it back a little bit. It's got that little bit of a lip.
There you go. There you go. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that lip is going to sit right over there. Sit right up against it. And even then, on the inside here, it's a little dark. Maybe come from this side, Jason.
Yeah, I can't get that angle. Let me go right here.
you might be able to see it a little bit better as far as what we're talking about. You guys can see getting their hands in there. You're able to get your hands in there and move that silicone around so that way it fits all the way around the box.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So that's why you're going to want to put the, that's why Ricardo recommends putting the filter on afterwards, guys.
Yeah. So now what we'll do, we'll go ahead and take our silicone for the throttle plug. We'll put that in place here. Now what I like to do, and I've kind of covered this before on some of these clamps, you can see I got this one kind of tucked back. I like the nice clean look, so I might move this one actually a little bit too. I might put it down a little bit further down. So some of you guys that like the car shows or your cars gets judged, judges look at stuff like that. So something to think about. If you have a clamp over here and then you have one over here, you might get docked some points. Same thing on the throttle body side. I do the same thing. I kind of tuck them back as far as I can, so that way I can still get to it, but it gives it a nice clean look.
We're all about the show and go, guys. Dwayne wants to know, if I get one, would it be able to keep up with the Mustang? No, Dwayne, actually, you're not going to be able to keep up with the Mustang because you would have to slow down.
That's right. There you go. You'd have to slow down. I like that one. That was a good one. Yeah, so all I'm doing right now is I'm going to tighten this clamp down so that way it just rests on the throttle body a little bit. So that way I can get that intake elbow put in place. And then we'll tighten those clamps down and put it all together. So we'll kind of turn that a little bit. You can see it. It's kind of tucked back pretty far. So that way, like I said, guys, some of these show cars, a lot of people don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
It's one thing we pay attention to. Every time we go to shows, that's one thing I look at.
Yeah, we do kind of look things over.
Yeah. All right. So
Thanks, Gabriel. Thanks, James.
We'll take our clamps here. And we'll leave it there. Hopefully it stays there a little bit. All right, there. Take this other one. We'll tuck it further back. And we'll take our intake. I'll cover that a little bit.
Where's your little tank that goes on the bottom?
I'm going to put that on. Actually, I can put that on now. It's just, yeah, I can put that on now.
Let's do it now.
Do it now. So all it is, guys, they give you this little silicone tube. You're going to push it over the fitting they give you. Like I said, I've already pre-mounted that, so you didn't see me do that, but I've already pre-mounted it, so it's already in place. And then we'll take our factory piece, and we'll slide that right back on. So then all we'll do, we'll take this entire elbow, drop it in place, factory piece goes click back on, and we'll go back together.
Cool.
Now, if you guys remember the last Roto-Fab we did, what tool did we use to get that hose in place?
Now you can either work it in. We cheat a little bit. We have a little hose tool here.
Yeah. So this is kind of basically, it's kind of a little bit of a hook, and it just kind of feeds in there and guides it all the way around. So we'll get that slid in there. Oh, that way.
Quiet in here.
It is. Yeah,
That's the filter, guys. So if you want to know what the dry filter and the oil filter looks like from Roto-Fab, that's the difference right there. That's the oil filter. That's the dry filter look. Really like the dry filter look on it. It's got a nice sturdy case around it. It's a little bit, obviously it's more than the oil filter. But that's what you're going to get right there. That's the difference.
Still fighting it a little bit over here. Just trying to get
It's a tight tube.
It is. It is.
You know, I like these accents that they added on this. That's all GM stuff right there, guys.
There we go. Still kind of.
You know, I like the way the Roto-Fab looks. So here's I'm gonna point something out to you also, guys. You see where it's Roto-Fab in red right there?
Oh yeah.
So that is actually, when you get this box, that's an option that you can add on. When I say option, it comes in the box. What you're gonna have is you notice on some of the Roto-Fabs we've done in the past, it will outline the Roto-Fab name. Obviously, we put the red sticker that they put in here over that. It allows us to obviously match the accents of the car on this one here. So you do get that red Roto-Fab decals way.
Yeah.
Will it throw any code? Check engine light needed to? No.
No.
No, Wesley, you're not going to throw any codes with this. You're not going to have any check engine lights with this. This is basically a direct bolt-on unit that's not going to throw any codes.
Right. And Roto-Fab, they took their time. You know, I know we had a lot of people asking early when the Roto-Fab intake was, I guess, being talked about, being teased. Put out there. We had a lot of guys asking, you know, if anything needed a tune or if it was going to need a tune. What Roto-Fab does is when he designs his intakes is that he takes his time, goes out there with his tuner, they hook it up to the car, they hit their programmer up to the car, and they monitor everything. So that way they know their design of the intake. They know exactly how to go, how it's going to go. If they need to make a change, so that way you don't need a tune for these intakes.
Cool.
Straight on, bolt on, not a problem. Go right together, no questions asked. Fit and finish is going to be, you know, perfect.
Now you look at the Roto-Fab over here. It definitely fills in this whole entire area right there.
Yeah. We got that put in place. I'll take that factory piece and we'll just clip it right back on. And that's just going to sit there.
Mass air. We're golden. Besides the filter, that is.
Yeah, gotta get that still. And like I said, that clip, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but that clip is clipped right back on.
No, Doreen, unfortunately, installing the system or the CI, they're not legal in California. They do not have a carb. They're not carb legal for California at all. So you're not going to pass a smog there in California with the Roto-Fab. Actually, I don't think we offer any kit right now at this point that is available for California emissions.
No, unfortunately, I want to say the only one that I think is California emissions is a 5th gen V6 intake.
Yeah,
and I think it's only approved till like 2012 or 2013. So that's really the only one. Other than that, unfortunately not. Anything for an SS, sorry.
Yeah.
So we got our filter here, and like we said, this is the last thing we usually do. When I'm putting these on, I like to take a look at it and see where the filter starts and where it ends. So you guys can see. You see how it starts right there? It starts and ends right there. I like to mount it to where it all looks uniform on the same side. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. It might put the Roto-Fab upside down.
But you're not really going to see it.
You're not really going to see it off to the side. So we'll do. Get it back down in here. Might have to loosen that clamp a little bit. And all we'll do is it. And we'll fit it right there. You want to kind of turn the filter a little bit. Once you get it on, you want to turn it a little bit, make sure it's not full on hitting the box. I want to say it's close, but it doesn't want to full on hit the box. So we'll just have it right on that edge. And the same thing with the clamp here, guys. I'm going to tuck it way back down here, so that way you're not going to see it, and it's going to look good for any car show judge.
So look what he's done so far, guys. So he's put these clamps and he's put them back here. So when you're walking up to the Camaro, you don't see it's not right there in your face. These two are down there. They're pretty uniform for the, you know. They look
might have to make a little adjustment to them.
But so when you're walking up to it, you don't see those clamps right in your face.
No, nice clean look. You know, nothing too crazy on it. You don't have one clamp facing one way, one clamp facing the other. They're all going to face the same way, and have the same uniform look. So if you are going to that car show, that's one little thing that might dock you a point or two. Who knows? I know we've been docked a point or two for a couple of little things. So, but hey, we've won some awards and we're happy with it. So anyway, so there we are.
That's what it looks like.
Roto-Fab intake installed for you guys.
It's installed. Sound tube, deleted. That's the old sound tube over there.
Yeah, sorry, that's right back over here. So we went from having this big piece that really does nothing for you, other than, like I said, the driving experience and the different modes and everything like that. You know, the car acts differently and might change the sound up a little bit, but that's really about it. You know, so we went from a big factory intake that, don't get me wrong, worked well. But why not have something that works and also looks good? Yeah,
so as you're upgrading, this unit is always going to help you produce more power.
Definitely.
Thanks, Ben. Looks good, buddy. All right, man.
So yeah, so how far are we in here?
Okay, well, so we're basically 41 minutes. Well, probably about 40 minutes into this. Would it take us as long if we weren't talking? No. I mean, realistically, you see how long it takes, guys. 30 minutes install and you're done. Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm going to say if you've done it a couple times, I mean, I know 15, 20 minutes on a fit gen. I mean, really anything else is 30 minutes. 30 minutes of cold air intake. You know what? Let's go ahead and fire it up for you guys. So that way you guys can hear the whistle and kind of see the difference. So like he said, he put the pleat, the connected pleat on the bottom, so when you walk up to it, you don't see it. Like I said, you really don't see the Roto-Fab name on the side of the filter either, so. Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice, guys. So like we said, looking at the odometer right now, it's got 58 miles on it. So brand new, 2017. We're definitely going to hang on to it for a little bit while this afternoon. We're going to do some blackout kits and stuff like that, and we'll go ahead and throw those pictures out there later on Instagram and maybe here on Facebook, maybe in the next day or so. So we'll definitely be updating you guys with some cool pictures of this. But what we wanted to show you was how to install a Roto-Fab intake, and that's how you do it. You know, like we said, we're running about 40 minutes right now, but if we weren't talking, weren't answering some of your questions, would have done it a little bit faster. But show you guys, that's it.
Fantastic. All right, guys. So again, thanks for hanging out with us this week. I'm Jason. This is Ricardo.
Definitely. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see you guys next week. Who knows what we're gonna have, but we'll try and have something going for you guys to, keep you all entertained. If there's any suggestions or anything you guys want to see, let us know.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys.